Okay, so leading up to sort of this point, deciding on a project, we've been talking about every step in a lot of detail, and now we really start to do a lot less telling and a lot more just sort of doing. And so I'm going to just kind of go over one at a time some of the things that are coming for the rest of the semester. And so the first one is the design brief, the formal design brief. That's something that people use in design, the design industry, to guide people who would be designing a project, even your own team. And all the details are in the documentation, but it's actually helpful to look at it from a bird's eye view. So this is an example of a brief, and you can see that there are images of the person in their current context and what they're currently doing, and guiding principles and ideas that are just visual, just inspiration for the project, no matter which direction you go with it. And there's some different idea sketches for how you might pursue that project. And then in the back, there's an appendix that has your compasses in it that you created along the way. And that is basically what it is. It's inspiration to guide the project. And what we're looking for is that it embodies a passionate perspective on the person. You've made a powerful yet feasible project choice in the end that you communicate there. It's grounded in really detailed, real observations about the person. It guides development of ideas without pointing to a single idea. And again, as always, it's usable and inspiring to build on. It's a great piece of design documentation. Okay. So now we're officially at the second half of the course, and we go from the very deliberate design thinking slow cycle to much faster 2-week sprints in sort of a lean or agile sense, but it starts to get sort of freer and messier on purpose. We sort of let go and people iterate in the way that works for them. And so we do that in a few stages: play, prototype, pilot, produce. So we'll just talk about those really briefly. So here, all of these questions, we're continuing to develop the question in detail of, what's my product? What are my product details? And the first step is to just play with different pieces of ideas. This is for process review 2. And so this is a way that one team did it. They played separately with character. These are different color swatches that they used to think about what they already knew her favorite color was blue, but then what kind of patterns might work for a chair cushion. They figured out that she wanted to tie it, and so then they tried different materials for how they would look and how she was able to tie. For the interaction and character, and then also for the function, they tried different materials and thicknesses for the cushion. So they're experimenting separately with function, interaction, and character. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for creative experimentation around every aspect of the product. We want to see that you're learning from those experiments. So it's not just that we did it, but what happened and why. What observations and ultimately principles and new ideas that you pull out. And that now that we've done all this play, we've got a plan for a prototype the first time we put it all together to think through how it's going to work, that's detailed and it's realistic, so that we actually believe that's going to happen. And that this is a design review, so that you're open to input about those things. Now, having done all of this play, we're ready to go into the next cycle, putting the pieces together into a prototype that we can evolve together. And so this is for design review 2, and it might start to look like this. And so this is a prototype in which they learned early that when they tried to put 2 bags in the back of this wheelchair this way, they start to get caught in things like doorways. And so they learned that they had to go vertical. And they learned that by first just kind of throwing something onto the back of the wheelchair. And that's important to learn before you go too much further. You'd hate to send her off with a pilot. And she can't even get through a door. She's not going to get very far to test it. And so here we're again looking for just curiously experimenting, observing, learning, just curious. You're starting to have a product design that's making some sense. Again, you've got a really good plan for your pilot, so we believe that's going to happen, and a way of following up on it. Which brings us to the pilot. You've prototyped enough with them in context that you are ready to, you've evolved that and you're ready to leave something with them for a while, a pilot that stands alone. And so this example, we have the physical one here that we can show, but this is a gardening stool, so you can see the prototype. The pilot here still isn't, colored or anything like that, but she's able to work in her garden and see how it works. And they left her with an interaction log, or a way of just a journal about that asks some questions about how it's working. So you can see some of the questions. Some of them were number scales and asking for comments and suggestions, but basically getting observations and ideas from their partner, so that when you come back to look and see what is going on with the pilot you left, you can also see a record of all the times that they used it and what happened and why. Finally, it's time for the product. You've learned a lot, I'm sure, from the pilot that was out there in the world without you, and it's time to deliver a refined, robust final product for Design Review 3. And these are some examples of products that have finally absolutely brought together character, interaction, and function. There's the gardening stool, there's the rack for the wheelchair, here's a cutting board, and here's some cards to help someone learn English. And some of the things we're looking for here, just ultimately, you've really got the partner. You've successfully addressed the challenge. Your design is elegant in the sense that it's no more than it has to be. It just is a simple, sophisticated way of solving that challenge, and that has real and professional execution. Like it's something they can be proud of. It doesn't have lots of rough edges and kludged things. And that it's evolved, that you've learned along the way. It doesn't look just like what you started with, because if so, you haven't really been questioning.